Although military aircraft had been stationed in New Zealand since the 1920s, the Royal New Zealand Air Force was officially established in 1937, and its first 21 years was summarised in this newsreel from 1958.
Wigram has been a flying station since the First World War. In those days it was known as Sockburn and was then a privately owned flying school training pilots for overseas service. That was before New Zealand had an air force. But in 1923 the government established permanent and territorial air forces, and with the generous help of Sir Henry Wigram it acquired Sockburn as an air station and named it Wigram. Then in 1937, 21 years ago, the Royal New Zealand Air Force became an independent unit of defence. It is this anniversary which is being celebrated throughout the service this year. Although much of the early development was due to the persistent efforts of such men as Sir Henry Wigram, few could have foreseen how soon New Zealand was to need every training facility at her disposal. The story of the Air Force between 1939 and 1945 is a story of progress under pressure of events. Some 8,000 pilots and 4,000 crewmen were trained by the Air Force during that period. New Zealand fighter pilots contributed much to the demoralizing of the Luftwaffe, playing their part from the earliest days of the Battle of Britain. In the mixed bomber air crews that helped to subdue Germany, there was always a Kiwi somewhere in the thick of it. But it was in the Pacific that the RNZAF operated as a unit. With its headquarters in the New Hebrides, the Air Force was able to help in harrying the Japs out of their island strongholds. The legendary heroes of World Wars I and II are safely harboured in the pages of history and in the hearts of New Zealanders. Theirs was the energy and the confidence that served to telescope into a few memorable years the knowledge and experience of a lifetime. It is to such men that the Air Force this year reserves a place of honour during its 21st anniversary reunions.
Let's conclude our look at classic New Zealand aviation with one of the best films of military aircraft stunt flying ever made, Jetabatics from 1964.
These men are the aerobatics team of the Royal New Zealand Air Force. In their Vampire jets, they paint the sky. Commanding is Flight Lieutenant John Buckmaster, 26. Flying Officer Adam Anderson, 24. Flight Lieutenant Colin Rudd, 27. Flying Officer Trevor Bland, 22, completes the team. All four men have seen active service overseas with the Royal New Zealand Air Force. Before our cameras, these young men will show their prowess in the air. Years of training have given each man confidence in his own skill and the skill of his fellow pilots. Clad in the armour of this age, the team is ready for takeoff. Our cameraman, going up with Flight Lieutenant Barry Gordon, will follow every complex move. And you will join us in the ride of your life.
Undercarriage, go. Richard red. Smoke, go. Box, go. Turning starboard now.
In skillful movement, the pilots fly relaxed. Chalk streaked on the sky, the rolling smoke forms and hangs, and lives its own short life above the land. In his 50 years of flying, man has traveled far and fast, through the sound barrier, and soon out into space. It is through these men, and their like the world over, that we've achieved our mastery of the air.